need for aid to flood in to help them. It has been an extraordinary day, like few others in the Middle East, of enormous emotion and high drama. But this, in a sense, is the easy bit if the diplomacy led by Donald Trump is to fulfill the promise of his rhetoric today. There needs to be immediate progress towards putting a security force into Gaza and an interim government as soon as possible. There was little apparent sense of urgency in Sharm el-Sheikh, where much of the time was used up filming each leader meeting the US president one by one. Then the leaders signed a document whose content still isn't known. Donald Trump, though, insisting the day would benefit people across the region.
With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered.
Only the first phase of Trump's deal has been implemented, a 3-day ceasefire and exchange of captives. And yet the US president is already hailing a new era of peace in the Middle East. He must now start the work of making that come true.
And Dominic Waghorn has this update for us.
The most momentous day at the end of the most extraordinary 2 years. Israel has never seen anything like October the 7th. The region has never seen anything like the 2 years that followed, a region just upended in turmoil and wars. And we've never seen a day like this where you've seen hostages being released at the same time as Palestinian prisoners being released in both Gaza and the West Bank, at the same time as an American presidential visit. And the scenes in the Knesset were unprecedented. We've seen American presidents welcomed warmly by Israel, but nothing like on the level that we saw today. I think some people watching will be nauseated by it. They will see an Israeli prime minister they regard as guilty of a genocide in Gaza, being praised by an American president. And frankly, I think a lot of people will be deeply offended that he feels he can come here at the end of a war where more than 60,000 people have died and say right now, there is a chance of peace. They want to know exactly how that's going to happen. But whatever you make of Netanyahu and Donald Trump, it has to be said now, at the end of this, a lot has been achieved. The hostages are out of Gaza. There is now the chance of a lot of aid going in. There is a ceasefire. Israel is withdrawn. The war is over. And both sides, Hamas and Israel, have been put on watch by an American president who's now deeply invested in this, that they can't start up again. And that period that extraordinary period of 2 years that has traumatized Israel is now over. And there is now the chance for a fresh start. And there is a real yearning for a fresh start on both sides, Palestinians and Israelis, a real yearning for something to be now begun that can put aside and behind them the terrible conflicts of the past. And that's what they're being offered by Donald Trump. However unorthodox and unconventional the manner of his offering, we didn't see much in terms of meaningful diplomacy in Sharm el-Sheikh, but he has got the whole world now invested at a time when there is a huge appetite for change. He's got to now convince the world, convince the Israelis and Palestinians. He means it when he says he's going to do what he can to try and bring peace to the region. And there is the chance of a new dawn, something that so many people are desperate for here.
For the Israeli hostages released yesterday, it was an enormous day of emotion after 738 days in captivity. But for the families of hostages who lost their lives, there is anger over what they say is the failure of Hamas to release all of their loved ones' remains. Our international correspondent, Alex Rossi, reports.
This is the moment Matan Zangauka was reunited with his mother. You are my life, my champion, my hero, she says. For more than 2 years, her son's been held by Hamas, but the living hell of his captivity is now finally over. And as the hostages were reunited, the images were beamed into Hostages Square. The mood, one of sheer elation.
For me, it's everything. It's human being life, and they're coming back.
Seeing specifically Alon, who is the son of my arts teacher, return, it's like this big relief.
For the families of hostages who'd already been released, this day has brought some resolution.
For my grandma, it was impossible. Every day she woke up in the tunnel, every poster she saw, she went back there. Now she's released. So this release is not 20 hostages only. It's a release of all live hostages came back from Gaza.
Since October the 7th, the square has been a site of weekly demonstration. Chants of frustration are now turning into songs of celebration and tears that once fell in despair are now tears of relief.
They've been coming to Hostages Square for the last 2 years to campaign and pressure the government, and they can't believe this moment has finally come. The mood here is one of optimism, relief and joy. And they credit one man, really, with getting the deal done, and that's the American president, Donald J. Trump.
When helicopters pass overhead, ferrying freed captives to nearby hospitals, the crowd erupts again and again, looking upwards to the sky. The sense of catharsis here is palpable. After a nightmare 2 years, a chance for the healing process of a nation to begin.
And we say thanks to the US for their involvement and their huge push to move it, because our government didn't seem to care much about it.
There's pain, and there's grief, and there's sense of big relief. And the most intense feeling is that we're really all connected. It's like a part of me came home.
Now that the living hostages are home, attention turns to those who did not survive. Officials say repatriating remains will take time. And even amidst the celebrations here, for some families, closure still remains heartbreakingly out of reach. Alex Rossi, Sky News.